It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you listen. Hope you're doing all right today. We got a full show for you today, but first, today's show is being brought to you in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria, an Italian restaurant located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website for the whole menu and then some. www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Or give my man a call, 912-268-2328. 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way down to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal and a great pizza, too. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Sea Palms Resort and our next Billy C boxing event, which will be taking place at the Sea Palms August 25th and 26th. That's right, you heard right. It's a 2-day event and then some. It's more going to be like a 2.5 or even 3-day event. Come on down. We're going to be having a meet and greet. We got some celebs coming, like former world champions Mike Weaver and Bobby Ches, and renowned trainer out of Tampa, Sherman Henson. He'll be joining us. So we're going to have a fun-filled weekend, which will include not only the meet and greet and some food, but also a little golf tournament for fun with everyone that we're talking about. And also we're going to be filming the next Billy C Boxing's Revisited episode that you guys are going to be part of. Everyone that's there. And we're going to be trucking over to Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and invade his restaurant. And we're going to culminate with showing the farce known as McGregor-Mayweather. And what better place would you rather watch a joke of a fight than with us, so we can have a lot more fun doing other stuff. So make your plans now. Contact the Sea Palms for all the package deals. Visit our website, billycboxing.com, and click on the Sea Palms banner. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy of it right now while you're watching or listening to the show. Just visit barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com if you want a signed copy. Just visit the website, billycboxing.com. and click on the book. You can't miss it. Hey, don't forget, download our app, too. You want our app for your phone? Go to Fight. That's F-I-T-E. Go to fight.tv/BillyC and download our app for your phone today. Coming up a little bit later, we will be talking about the fights from this past weekend. Dax Khan will join us a little bit later as well, give us his thoughts. This week, specifically tomorrow, our blast from the past on one of my favorite fighters, a newly elected Hall of Famer, at least a couple years ago, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Our blast from the past this week. So make sure you tune in tomorrow for that. In addition to the fight results, today's topic, now that the circus is over with McGregor-Mayweather and we get to really look at, the real fights coming up. Well, there's one real fight that I can't wait for, and that fight is Triple G against Canelo Alvarez. My question today, will that fight live up to the hype? Was it worth the wait? We wanted this fight a long time ago, not quite as long as Pacquiao-Mayweather, but we still wanted this fight a while ago. Will it live up to the hype? Will it have been worth the wait? That's my question today. Joining me right now from St. Simon's Island is my man, Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, before you give me your thoughts on the fights this weekend, Triple G Canelo, do you think right now where we stand, it'll live up to the hype?
I believe so. I really do, Bill. I think that, we were waiting for Pacquiao Mayweather. This has not been quite as long, but I think these are two big names that are leveraged to be superstars. I mean, they already are. I mean, Triple G is already a star, and Canelo Alvarez, I give him all the credit. He's stepping up, and it's a 50-50 fight right now, and I think it's going to live up to the hype because I don't think these guys are going to have to go far to look for each other. And they have a unique style, each of them, and I think it's going to be a great, great fight. We're going to see a little bit of exchanges here and there, a little more movement. Hopefully, Canelo will be cutting off the ring. Triple G will be cutting off the ring on Canelo. But, it's going to be a great fight. I really anticipate a really good conflict right there. I really do.
You know, a lot of times when we get a fight, that has been marinating. I'll use Bob Arum's term, marinating. A lot of times, the fight doesn't live up to the hype, and it becomes anticlimactic. A lot of us thought that might have been the case with AJ and Klitschko, and we got treated to a fantastic fight. But I'm with you on this one. I do believe that Triple G and Canelo will indeed live up to the hype. I'm not so sure. I say yes. Not only will it live up to the hype, but it will have been worth the wait. I really think that this fight will bring out the absolute best in both of these fighters, even though I think that Triple G, is starting to show his age in the ring. It was evident in his last couple of fights. I do think that we will get the best version of Triple G, and we certainly will get the best version of Canelo. Canelo's young, and the one thing I do like about Canelo, I mean, there's a lot of things I like about Canelo, but the one thing I admire is the fact that he takes this seriously, Sal. And, the one thing that I like about both of these fighters, is the fact that they both are dedicated. The discipline, which you're so high on, I think it exists very strongly with these two guys, and at least we know that part of it is away. They're not going to have to spend their whole training camp trying to make weight. They've already started that. Their training camp is going to be on their game plan. What do you think?
I think you're 100% right. I mean, these are two focused individuals. They both feel they could beat one another, and they both have all balls to the walls kind of a mentality and mindset that they're going to go forward, and they're relentless. And you know what? That's why I think it's going to be a good conflict. They both have egos. They both have something to prove, and they both are going to be ready to fight each other. And may the best man win, because I think it's going to treat the boxing fans to one of the better fights of this year. We've been treated to some darn good fights this year, but this one I think is going to be a signature, special fight, very special fight.
I'm going to jump. I know you got some things going on today, so I'm going to jump into the fight results because I know you and I talked off air earlier, and you got some strong feelings about specifically the fight cards that were on HBO. So let me get everybody caught up. Super featherweight champion Miguel Berchelt improved to 32 wins, 1 loss, with 28 of his wins coming by knockout when he scored a 12-round unanimous decision over Takeshiri Murara, who drops to 31-4 with a couple of draws. The way the judges saw it, 120 to 109, 119, 108, and one had it a little closer at 116, 111. I don't think the fight was that close. I thought that Berchelt won the fight easily. Just to get 2 other fights on this card, and then we're going to switch it over to Sal. We got Jezreel Corrales improved to 22-1 with 8 knockouts, and left with his title when he won a majority decision over Robinson Castellanos, who loses for the 12th time, 22-12 now. 94-94 was the way one judge scored it. One judge had it 94-93 for Corrales, and the other judge had it 96-92 for Corrales. I don't know, man. I thought this fight was very close. I'm okay with 94-93. I'm okay with the draw, but I don't know. And also they stopped this fight a little soon because of the headbutt, the bleeding, etc. And then in a fight that really was a one-sided beatdown, Joe Smith Jr., known for his punching power, got schooled by Sullivan Barrera. Barrera improves to 20 wins and 1 loss with 14 knockouts. And Joe Smith Jr., he drops to 23-2, 97-92 twice with the way the judges scored it, and one judge had it 96-93, all in favor of Barrera. Joe Smith Jr. did drop Barrera early in the fight, but from that point on, it was all Barrera. We did find out that Joe Smith Jr. was fighting with a broken jaw. Sometimes you wonder, should he have continued? Should he have stopped it? I don't know. But first and foremost, Sal, let's go through the 3 fights for your opinions. First and foremost, the main event, Miguel Berchelt against Takashiri Miura. What was your thoughts on that one?
Definitely a one-sided fight. It was all Berchelt just dominant from the first round on. He dropped him in the first round, so that's a 10-8 round. And I gave him every additional round except the 10th round. The 10th round I actually gave to Miura, but I had about 119, 108, and it was a one-sided fight. Like I said, everybody kept saying that that Miura is this one-handed knockout artist that's looking to come up with the big punch, but he never was able to deliver it. There were so many little sidebars that happened with all these fights. I think this was the one fight they actually had. I think it was one of this particular fight. They had a referee stop the fight. I mean, when you take your minute break, it's supposed to be a minute. I think there was a delay in a minute of one of the rounds because the referee's bow tie had to be reattached, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, take the damn tie off and let the fight begin. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was like an extra 10, 15 seconds that they're trying to retie the guy's bow tie. That should never have been allowed. It should have been ring the bell, take the damn tie off. You don't need it, and it's not going to help you do any better job refereeing. So it was kind of a funny antic. And then I think they were comparing.
Let me just comment. You're right. I mean, this is one of
it was bizarre. Well, I was like, are we watching a boxing match or MMA?
Well, this is the issue that we at least I always complain about. It's not fighter A versus it's not fighter A versus fighter B featuring referee so and so. Make sure he's all dressed neat and spiffy. It's about the 2 fighters. The referee should be a guy you don't even remember his name because he was just in there, policing the 2 fighters. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yes,
it's become more of what other antics are going on aside from the fight. I mean, the audience is accepting it. The broadcast teams are talking about it. I mean, it's like, same thing. We'll get to the other fights a little later, but, with certain referees dancing around and making googly eyes at the camera. I mean, come on. I don't want to see it. I want to see the fight. It's bad enough and rare enough that we even see 2 fighters going at it for a full 12 rounds.
Bill, you're so right. When I saw that happen, I rolled my eyes, and I said, I cannot believe they're actually going past a 1-minute period of break in between rounds so the referee could have assisted help of reattaching his bow tie and tying it up. The damn thing should have been ripped off his collar, the bell should have rang on time, and he should have just gone back in there and refereed a fight. It just blew my mind. I can't even say anything further because it's redundant, but it was pathetic.
No, you're right. Hey, Sal, hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get you the rest of the fight results and our thoughts on those, and we'll continue moving blood pressure's forward. Going up. Yeah, we'll continue moving forward. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And I'm here with my man, Sal Rocky Senecola. And we're talking about the fights on HBO, Sal. And, the one thing I'm just going to add with the Murara-Burchell fight is that Murara is just a tough guy. Comes forward and
he's
stuff,
a tough guy,
but he doesn't throw enough punches.
No,
he was coming forward, and a good boxer like Miguel Burchell is showing us that he can handle himself as a boxer. He picks him apart basically, and that's what we saw. It was a one-sided beatdown. Now this next fight wasn't one-sided really. Jezreel Corrales, going in as the WBA super featherweight champion, was fighting the tough Mexican fighter Robinson Castellanos, who the last time we saw him beat my man Yuriorkis Gamboa. And this is a guy that, talk about a guy that never was coddled or given any real chance to excel, and yet he's not only come back, he's a former champ. 22-12 now with his record. I don't know if I really agreed with the scores. And I know you have some opinions about the stoppage. Well, the premature stoppage with the accidental headbutt. I mean, I thought this fight was close, but Castellanos wasn't going to get any close round the judges gave to Corrales. Again, 94-93. Close enough to not argue a robbery, use the word robbery. 94-94, I think, is justifiable. I don't know. What was your thoughts on this fight?
Well, I pretty much had the fight a draw going into the 10th round, but I thought the cut was premature. Another thing, every one of these fights had something anecdotal or comical going on as a sidebar. If it wasn't the referee getting his bow tie readjusted, it was another fight. With this fight, there was one instance when there was rabbit punching going on, and they stopped the fight for a minute to give the guy a minute to recover in a corner with rabbit punch. And it wasn't anything like he was hurt. You could see it was just hey, let's take a break and do this. And the commentary was hilarious because they were talking. Well, I think he really got hurt with this. No, he didn't get hurt with it. He's doing a great acting job. And so you had Jim Lampley and Matt Kellerman, I think, debating that whole issue. And then Roy Jones steps in and said, no. That was an acting job. He did not get hurt. So it was funny. There's another part when the cut happened, Jim Lampley was saying, hey, do you think if he moves to his right, will it affect the cut? And Jones just says matter-of-factly, no, I don't think that'll affect the cut. It's like, they're looking for, well, will he get hit with punches that's going to open the cut up? No, if he moves to his right, it's not going to hurt the cut. It was just funny. It was just a comical exchange between the commentary going on there and the antics again. As far as that cut that they stopped the fight on, hey, it was underneath the eye. It looked like it was going to take maybe 7 to 10 stitches. It didn't look dramatic. And sure, when a cut first opens up, it bleeds. Had he gone back to the corner and probably got it patched up, I thought they stopped the fight a little premature. It was a nice cut right underneath the eye. Just protect it, do what you can, try and outbox. And he didn't argue the situation that much either. So I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to see his own blood, or maybe he got a little squirrely when he got cut. I don't know. But I thought they stopped a little prematurely. They could have let it go on a little bit too.
Those wascally wabbits.
Those wascals. It was a wabbit punch. I'm telling you. A wabbit punch. It was so bad. It was unbelievable.
It just reminds me of Bugs Bunny with all the rabbit. And I'll tell you something. It seems like the commentating is just getting worse and worse across the board. Across the board, not just HBO. But across the board, I mean...
I was laughing. It was more of a comedy. I mean, when I heard Levin say, hey, do you think if he moves to his right, it's going to affect the cut? No, I don't think it'll affect his cut at all.
Let me ask you this. Well, let me ask you this. Will it affect his choice of what kind of trunks he's going to wear next time? Give me a break. But I don't know. I think Corrales squeaked out a W there.
He did.
He's got a, this is a guy that I said when we broke down the fights on Friday, he's a guy that kind of was coddled. He was put in a position, stepped up and won the title, has had some mediocre performances. If he wants to get to that next level and he wants to live up to the hype that they're trying to build around him, he needs to step up his game. He looks extremely ordinary to me, nothing special. But only time will tell. In today's sport, a guy with a title, with a 22-1 record, is still being developed. So I don't know. But the fight I was looking forward to actually the most on this card was the Sullivan Barrera and Joe Smith Jr. Now I picked Joe Smith Jr. and Joe Smith, devastating punching power, but despite other things that I've heard about his skill set, which I've never seen, me personally, he certainly didn't display anything other than punching power on Saturday night, Sal. He looked like a very one-dimensional fighter. He not only looked one-dimensional in terms of his offense, he virtually had no defense. He seemed out of it. He seemed sluggish. Now, we did learn that he broke his jaw after, I believe, the third or fourth round, which would certainly hinder a performance. And then usually at that point in time, you wonder, should a fighter continue? I mean, not everybody can continue with a broken jaw. I mean, Arthur Abraham displayed it in a grotesque fashion several years ago. Of course, Muhammad Ali fighting an entire fight after breaking his jaw in the first round. Not many fighters can do it. But the key here is the only way you do it is if you have a chance of winning. It seemed to me that Joe Smith Jr.'s only chance of winning was when he dropped Sullivan Barrera early in the fight. It didn't even seem to hurt Barrera. And at that point on, all he did was headhunt. And then once the jaw was broken, he just was trying to make it through, and I just don't understand why you finished a fight when you can't perform. I mean, you're in harm's way. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think you are right on spot there, man. I'll tell you, even a referee later in the fight came up to the corner in between and said, "Hey, Joe, you all right? You're not fighting like you should, and or like I've seen you." I mean, it was really interesting because it was very revealing. I mean, the referee's saying, "Hey, what's going on with you?" Had he said, "Well, I think I broke my jaw, and I'm just trying to protect myself," it might have been a different story. We don't know exactly when he did break his jaw, but I just saw an average and ordinary Joe out there. Nice guy. I wanted him to win. I thought he was going to have an opportunity with his crushing power, or as the commentators say, freakish power. And he does have good power. His best bet was when he jumped on him the first round and dropped him and Sullivan Barrera. And I think he should have gone out there with the intent early to try to end that fight and just keep on top of him. But as you were saying, I sadly, in the exchanges, I didn't see much defense. I didn't see too much technical. I didn't see him having a strategy to cut off the ring or so. And it turned into a very, very one-sided fight. And Sullivan Barrera, to his credit, he did a great job boxing. He showed that he wanted to win the fight. And Joe Smith, with the broken jaw and all, let him heal up and let him get some schooling here and there, and let him have another opportunity. He's a worthy opponent, and I think he deserves another opportunity to get back up there.
Yeah, I agree and disagree. And the reason why I say that is because remember something. And no disrespect to Joe Smith Jr. because everybody loves that story. But remember something. He was brought in as an opponent who had a good-looking record. He works under Joe DeGuardia, who really never tested the guy, just built up his record. He was brought in as an opponent for Andres Fonfara, knocked out Fonfara, shocked everybody, and all of a sudden got catapulted into the mix. He hasn't taken that opportunity to the next level. He seems ordinary at best. As a matter of fact, like we are alluding to now, with one strength, and that's his one-punch knockout power. And sometimes fighters rely too much on it, and they don't get better, or they don't let the rest of the skill set out of the cage. I just hope that he doesn't turn into that sacrificial lamb. The word's out on Joe Smith Jr. Anybody that can box and can avoid his power is going to give him trouble, and I think we've already seen the best Joe Smith Jr. Sad to say, I don't know if we can get better. That's all.
Well, you may have a good point because you know what you think since his knockout victory and his upsetting some opponents and B-Hop and all that he would have been taught or shown some of the areas that he was a little weaker on, and but like I said the other night, all I saw was an average Joe. I wish him the best. I think he will have another opportunity, and I think he deserves another opportunity to show what he can do. But I think, as you said, if he doesn't step up or do something different, he's going to be already have seen his best moments.
Well, wait a minute. Wait.
Commentary. But I just want to say this fight was supposed to be a 12-round title fight. Then both camps, the announcers didn't even know it. They're going into the 10th round. They say, "Oh, referees to make him touch gloves." He's wrong. It's not a 10-round fight. It's a 12-round fight. And then during the commentary, the announcer said, "Oh, we just had word that both camps of promoters decided they were agreed upon making it a 10-round fight." And then they had announcing a title at the end of the fight. It was so bizarre. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was going to be a 12-round fight, but whatever.
But nobody told the commentators.
No. Well, listen, Sal, good luck with your appointment, and we'll see you tomorrow, my man.
All right, buddy. We'll talk later. Thanks.
All right,
Take care, guys.
Take care. That's Sal Rocky Senecola. And listen, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I got the rest of the fight results. We got some boxing news. We got a lot of stuff. All of that is coming up in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And don't forget about downloading our app. I was forgetting to remind you to do it. Just go to Fight, that's F-I-T-E, fight.tv/Billy C. and download the app. Watch and listen to the show on your handheld. Some other fights from the weekend in a pretty exciting fight for as long as it lasted. Omar Figueroa comes back from a long layoff to totally destroy Robert Guerrero. Figueroa improved to 27 wins, no losses, and one draw with 19 knockouts. Robert Guerrero, nobody can question his heart and determination, but he got an uppercut that, reminded me of the uppercut that Anthony Joshua landed on Vladimir Klitschko. It wasn't as bad, but it was pretty damn close. The fight ended in the third round. It was over. My man Ron Lipton was the referee. Did a good job. And, showed a lot of respect towards Robert Guerrero by giving him an opportunity to continue. But just couldn't do it anymore. Robert Guerrero subsequently has announced his retirement, and thank God, and I hope he never comes back. Not for any other reason other than, they had that long fight. I say they, his wife had that fight. And, obviously he's got a beautiful wife and a beautiful family, and, he's made enough money. There's no sense in him being the sacrificial lamb. I've always liked Robert Guerrero. He's a class act, both in and out of the ring, and clearly displayed, at least to me, that his fighting days are over. He would retire with a 33-6-1 record with 18 knockouts. And no one could ever knock Robert Guerrero for his level of opposition and his accomplishments. I'm glad that he got out of this fight despite the brutality of the fight. He got out of it seemingly unscathed. So good luck to him, his family, and their futures. Also, in a fight that, in my opinion, listen, no disrespect to Shawnee Monahan, but I've never thought anything special of this guy. The thing I liked about Shawnee Monahan was that he was a little older. I like the fact he's from Long Island, like myself, and I like the fact that he seemed like a very regular guy, both in and out of the ring. But when it comes to his boxing skill, it was always questioned. Again, one of these fighters that have been coddled and can draw locally, and promoters don't want to get them a loss because of the money that they can generate, etc. And I wasn't that high on Marcus Brown. I thought very similar of him. But in the fight Saturday night, Marcus Brown showed that he was way more advanced and better than Shawnee Monahan. Shawnee Monahan traditionally starts off slow, comes on strong, and he knew that. And he knew that Marcus Brown was going to try to come after him in the first round, which he did. And Shawnee Monahan could not get his going, and ultimately the fight was stopped. This was another one of these garbage referee performances by the googly-eyed dancing referee. I can't stand him. I think that it's a travesty that he makes it about himself. I mean, even Art McCanty Jr., who was one of the worst about making it himself, has changed. And this is a guy that just does his job now. Willis, the guy that was the referee in the Brown-Monahan fight, I don't know why they keep giving him assignments. He's a joke, and it makes boxing look more like the WWE. I mean, when you got these circus press conferences that we witnessed all last week, you add it with a clown as a referee, it certainly doesn't help our sport. Brown improves to 20-0 with 15 knockouts. Shawnee Monahan loses for the first time in his career. He's now 28-1 with 17 knockouts. In a fight that I was looking forward to, that opened this broadcast, Artur Spilka going up against Adam Konowski. And I keep pronouncing the name Konaki because that's the way it looks, but everyone else has been pronouncing it Konaski. There's an S in there, but there's not. But Adam Konowski improved to 16-0 when he knocked out Artur Spilka. Now you wonder if the knockout that he had at the hands of Deontay Wilder has ruined him, because Artur Spilka came in really good shape. I don't think I've ever seen him in as good a shape. But then again, Kaunowski came in better shape than I anticipated as well, losing 40 pounds since he had started his boxing career. Kaunowski improved to 16-0, 13 knockouts. Artur Spilka drops to 20-3. And as far as his career goes, you don't know where it's going to go from here, because he seems to be getting worse. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you right now, and you might as well mark it down that you heard it here first. Adam Konowski will be Deontay Wilder's next opponent. This is a guy that because Deontay Wilder's a fraud and is not looking for any challenging fights against the top heavyweights, which obviously are fighting each other, AJ and Klitschko, and then you have Joseph Parker scheduled to fight Hughie Fury, and then you have Deontay the Fraud Wilder, and he's going to pick up some slug. And the guy that he's going to fight, you would like to see him fight a guy like Luis Ortiz, but no, he won't. He'll fight Adam Konowski. And Adam Konowski is a guy that you could make an argument to say that he earned the fight, that he beat a former world title challenger, the same guy that Deontay Wilder knocked out. But this is why I think that Konowski will get the fight. Number one, He won by knockout. He throws a lot of punches. Statistics show that he's a decent fighter. He will move up in the rankings. Lou DiBella is his promoter. Lou DiBella is Deontay Wilder's so-called promoter, even though we all know Al Heyman is. Here's why Deontay Wilder fights Adam Konowski. Adam Konowski throws a lot of punches and comes forward. However, he has no defense. Zilch. His hands were down. He throws a lot of punches, but you can see them coming a mile away. He's not fast at all. This is a custom-made opponent with a good record for Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder will pick him apart if he decides to use his jab, and Kaunowski will not get in close enough to do any damage. And I don't think he punches hard enough. Even though Spiltzka went down, I just don't think his punches have enough behind him. It almost seems like he's not putting his full weight into his punch. I don't know. But you can mark it down. I believe that Deontay Wilder's next opponent will be Adam Kaunowski. Some other fights over the weekend. Chris Eubank beat Arthur Abraham in a one-sided fight, 118-110 twice, 120-108. Eubank retained his IBO World Super Middleweight title, but more importantly, he gets to compete in the World Boxing Super Series. Arthur Abraham, in my opinion, should hang him up. I picked Abraham to win. I just don't think Chris Eubank is that good, but even Chris Eubank at this stage is better than Arthur Abraham at the stage he's at, pushing 40 years old. It's time. Arthur Abraham doesn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. The bottom line is that been there, done that. It's time for Arthur Abraham to move on to bigger and better things, at least in my opinion. Also on that card, IBF featherweight champ Lee Selby improved to 26-1 with 9 knockouts when he won a 12-round decision over Victor Barros, who drops to 41-5 with a draw, 119-108, and 2 had it more realistic, 117-110 for that fight. So that's what took place there. On Friday night, in a fight of between 2 undefeated fighters in the junior welterweight division, Ivan Barancek improved to 15-0 with 10 knockouts when he won an 8-round decision over Keenan Smith, who drops to 11-1, 80-71, 79-72, 78-73. The way the judges scored it. Keenan Smith was deducted a point for holding, and to tell you the truth, he should have been deducted for another one. He got warned more times than the things on the warnings on cigarette packs. I mean, it was terrible. It was a bad referee job. He was holding, clinching. Barancek obviously had his number and got the decision. On that card was terrible. But I do want to say this: the only other fight on that card that I am even going to mention because I felt it was worth watching was in the bantamweight division. Joshua Greer, he improved to 14 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw with 6 knockouts when his opponent's corner of Leroy Davila basically stopped the fight after 5 rounds. Davila drops to 5-2. Greer did get the best of Davila in the last several rounds of that fight before the stoppage. But here's the thing. I'm keeping an eye on Joshua Greer. He showed me some stuff. Number one, he engages. I like it. He's got hand speed. I like it. I think he concentrates a little too much on his hand speed, and as a result, he's lacking some pop behind his punches, despite him technically getting the knockout here. I think if he could somehow. Sometimes fighters that focus on hand speed too much actually pull the punch before it lands. They don't follow through because they're concentrating so much on hand speed that it's almost like slap fighting. And a guy like Greer, with the speed that he does possess, he needs to just let his punches land before he retracts them. That's what I saw. And the only other thing I saw that he really needs some improvement on is defense. He was totally open when he lets his hands go. Literally from his upper torso. His whole neck and head are wide open. So as he moves up with better competition, they're going to catch him. They're going to time him. But a really good young prospect to keep an eye on, Joshua Greer. I liked what I saw. Just as I predicted, former undefeated fighter Gutierrez, Roger Gutierrez, stepped in with a guy way too good. Rene Alvarado beat him, and the fight was stopped. Listen, when I broke down this fight, Roger Gutierrez fought nobody the caliber of Rene Alvarado. And this is where a lot of fight fans today just don't get it. They look at a record, they say, oh, he's got 8 losses, he's no good. Wrong. Same thing with Robinson Castellanos. Oh, he's got double-digit losses, he can't be good. Wrong. Roger Gutierrez, undefeated, he's got to be great, right? Wrong. You can't fight bums and then all of a sudden step up and expect to be just as good and successful as you were against lesser opposition. You can't do it. These management firms and the promoters are not helping young fighters by coddling them. They're not. They're just not giving them a chance to get any better. And it's a shame because, we have a lot of good fighters that may not be getting the opportunity to get better because their team are too afraid to suffer value, which equates to a loss, which is also wrong. In a fight I didn't see, but this always goes to show you why you got to fight the fights. Jose Vizara improved to 19 wins, 8 losses, and a couple of draws when he beat former world title challenger Romulo Kosacha, who drops to 25-7. 99, 90, 98, 91. 2 of them were 99 90s, and one had it 98, 91, all in favor of Vizara. And a guy, you hear me talking about Hector Camacho being one of the greatest fighters of all time, especially when he was in his youth prior to the Edwin Rosario fight. Unfortunately for Hector Camacho Jr., he doesn't possess the same skill set because Hector Camacho Jr., first of all, doesn't have the desire and the discipline that his pops had, at least in the beginning of Hector Sr.'s career. And once again, Jr. tried to make a comeback. His time at middleweight, keeps moving up in weight because he doesn't like to train. We had him on the show a couple of times, and he said flat out, hey, I have a problem with weight because I can't keep away from rice and beans. And the truth of the matter is he's not that big of a guy, and he's fighting middleweights who are monsters, and he's already 38 years old, which shocks me. I remember Hector Sr. holding him up as a baby in the ring. But Orlando Lara improved to 33 wins and 7 losses with a couple of draws with 21 knockouts when he scored a 7th-round knockout over Hector Camacho Jr. On Friday in Vegas. Jr. drops to 58-7 with a draw and 32 knockouts. Hector Jr. had not been in the ring for 3 years, and here's the funny part. I'm just talking about him in rice and beans. He fights at middleweight. This guy should be fighting really his frame. Junior welterweight. Welterweight at the most. He started his career lower than that, and he ended up fighting at junior middleweight. He fought this fight at middleweight, and guess what? He didn't even come into the fight weighing close to 160 pounds. He was a super middleweight. He missed his weight limit by 6.5 pounds, and it didn't help him at all. So all the fights, I ended up going 7 out of 10 with the fights from last week. But anyway, I got some emails I want to read, and they are as follows. First one is from my man Jesse, and Jesse says, "Hey Billy C, I saw that Figueroa and Guerrero was a pretty good action fight, but I just saw Robert being too sloppy and his body just can't take the damage anymore. All the wars he's been in, it's carrying on now to show, and his body can't take it with current punches. Robert had his moments, but the lack of defense showed up pretty clearly. He says he was brought in for a stepping stone. Omar looked out of shape and got hit pretty good too. So I don't know what to make of the fight. I heard they're talking to Brandon Rios for a possible match in September or October. But if not Rios, then Berto, Brook, Eggington, Vargas, or Lucas he's talking about Lucas Matisse for this fight for Omar Figueroa. Figueroa hadn't been in the ring for a while, so I mean, considering he was a little rusty, I thought he did okay, despite not disagreeing too much with the fact that Robert Da Costa Guerrero is not himself. He says Marcus had a good win, but Sean has no boxing skills against top guys. I think Sean should retire or make major changes to his team. Marcus against Pascal, maybe Smith Jr., Cleverly, or Fonfara next. He deserves a pretty high-level fighter. Yeah, he does, but can he handle one? And I agree. I think, no disrespect to Shawnee Monahan, but he is 35, and I doubt that he's going to change his team because he's just got too much comfort there, but he's not that good. He says, I only saw highlights of Smith Jr. against Sullivan, and Sullivan showed good determination and boxing skills with his combo. He's earned a shot against Ward, Kovalev, or Chickenson, but he says hopefully one of those guys take the fight. I don't want to see Ward. I really don't. Ward is a boring fighter, and I have no interest in watching him. Kovalev, he's a quitter, in my opinion. He's a talker that doesn't back it up. I'm not sure what I want to see, if I even want to see him next again. We need new blood in the light heavyweight division, for sure. So we'll wait and see. I wouldn't get so crazy with him at this point. My man Mitch says, he says the PBC is close to being done. He says you're taking two West Coast guys, one washed up and one who has been out for 2 years, and making them the main event on the East Coast. He's talking about the card out of Long Island. He says, anyway, I'm watching the corner instructions in the Showbox fight. I listened to the trainer actually give his fighter decent instructions, not cheerleading. Somehow I thought about Virgil Hunter, who, by the way, not only do I think he's a terrible trainer, I think he's awful as a commentator. I mean, who does this guy think he is? All of a sudden, he's like a Zen master. He's a joke. He says, you know how you could take a remote to go to menu options on your TV? He says, are you in favor of, let's say, charging $1.99, having 3 options between rounds pop up on your TV? He says, let's use Ward and Kovalev as an example. Option 1, you select to listen to Ward's corner in between rounds. Then the camera gives you full screen view of Ward and Hunter during the entire in-between segment. The commentator's voices are muted, so all you hear is the corner. Option 2, you select to listen to Kovalev's corner in between rounds, and you get the same thing. Option 3, you select neither and are at the mercy of whatever the networks decide to show you, probably the replay of the prior round and commentary from the broadcasters. Or 4, you get to follow the ring card girls from corner to corner. 2 corner angles shows her from the front, and the other 2 corner angles shows her junk in the trunk. The $1.99 would be a one-time payment, not for each time you use the feature. So each round you could choose which option you want. No charge if you switch it. He says, while option 3 and 4 are feasible, I think it would really tell us which trainers are good and which are not. We already know your 2 favorites are Rozier and Hunter. He says, I'd love to be able to use a feature like this because sometimes Triple G will have a great or bad round, and I want to hear what Sanchez tells him. HBO will go on the other boxer's corner instead of showing highlights of the prior round, so I never get to hear the corner instructions that I want to hear for a particular round. He says, just a thought. He says, by the way, if Pacquiao Horn rematch lands on ABC instead of ESPN, then we know the Bob father put the fix in. I actually like the idea of being able to listen to the corner. And I also like the idea to really get a full view of the ring card girls because I love those women, And if any of you women are available, drop me an email because I would love to chase you around the ring. One last email. Thanks for the email, Mitch, by the way. One last email I want to get to before we take a break, and we are scheduled to have Dax come on. This one's from my man James Keister. He says, hey, Billy C., due to circumstances beyond my control, it's been a while since I dropped you a line. However, I was watching Showbox the other night, and the ref kept warning the guy for low blows. He explained in the second round that the low blows were blows below the belly button, not below the belt. Can a ref define their own strike zone, or is there a hard rule about where the line is? I always thought that the belt line was legal. He says, okay, well, before I read this, sometimes the fighters wear their trunks a little high. So, by wearing a trunk high and having a protective, cup that comes up way high, you get an advantage if you just went by the belt line. The belt line is the belly button down. So I do think that the referee has, the right to define that strike zone, so to speak, as long as both fighters know. But he's got to be consistent. Just like if you're going to use a baseball analogy, just like an umpire, and their strike zone has to be consistent from one batter to the next. It can't change based on the batter. Well, the same thing has to be in play here, in my opinion. If a referee says, well, here's the low blow, here's a low blow on you, here's a low blow on you, he's got to stick to it and call a low blow when he sees it or not call one, despite some acting, because we all know that we have some Academy Award-winning fighters right now for their acting abilities. But good question. He says, in other news, I recently gave a talk to a college class and was asked about the upcoming Mayweather-McGregor fight. I told them it was a joke. Boxing and MMA are two different animals. It would be like having a pro golfer golf against Tiger Woods. My question is, do you really think the fight will do the numbers they're predicting, or will people like me write it off as a joke? By the way, tell Sal to keep making pizzas. Well, Sal is still making pizzas and then some. Here's the thing, and as much as I didn't want to even talk about that, but here's the thing. The fight, as far as, from what I can tell right now, the boxing fans hate the fight. And I don't anticipate many buying it unless they got nothing else to do. I suggest you come into St. Simon's and hang out with us, save your money, spend a little money on coming down and have a great weekend of fun in the sun. Rather than spend it and watch it and be regretful of spending the money. But I do believe that the numbers will be okay because it's a circus. This is a basically the water cooler discussions. It's the guys that don't watch all the fights are going to buy it. The MMA fans are going to buy it. The people that hate Mayweather are going to buy it, hoping that McGregor knocks him out. People that are MMA fans, looking for this for, getting the recognition they feel that the sport needs. Is it going to be a boxing match? No. I mean, Conor McGregor doesn't stand a chance against Floyd. He doesn't even stand a chance against his own sparring partners. They're slapping him around. I saw an interview the other day, and they're saying that he doesn't even hit hard. Here's a guy that they're saying is a devastating puncher. He doesn't even hit hard. Listen, my earliest prediction of this fight would be Floyd by knockout. And Floyd can't knock anybody out. Floyd's, got the girly little weak hands. The Nevada State Athletic Commission should be ashamed that they're letting this fight happen. And let me tell you something. God forbid something happens to Conor McGregor from a health perspective. Nevada State Athletic Commission is going to be in a whole lot of trouble. I think it's a joke that they're letting a pro debut fighter fight a 49-0 guy. Let alone a guy like Floyd Mayweather. It's a joke. This is clearly a money-making gimmick, and if you feel okay about contributing, knock yourself out because McGregor's not knocking Floyd out. Floyd's going to win this fight by a knockout with his girly hands at all. He's going to basically look at Conor McGregor as a woman because that's the only people he knocks out lately. Anyway, thanks for the emails. One last thing I want to mention. I got a couple of things I want to talk about. We're going to have Dax come on here for a few minutes. But it was made official. There was a lot of rumors about it, but it was made official on September 16th. Billy Joe Saunders is finally fighting again. He's putting his undefeated record on the line and his trinket, which is the WBO middleweight fight, against Willie Monroe, who's 21-2. This will not be an easy fight for Billy Joe Saunders. Don't be surprised if Monroe squeaks out a victory there. Hey, listen, I'm going to take a short break. When we come back, Dax Khan will join us, and he's got some thoughts on the fights from this weekend. I'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And don't forget about coming on down to St. Simon's Island and be with us August 25th and 26th. We're going to have a full 3-day event. You know, it's going to be 2 days plus, so I'm counting it as 3. So come on down, visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the CPOMs. Get the information, call, and get your package today. You won't regret it. You'll have a great time. Joining me right now is Dax Khan. What's up, Dax?
Hey, good morning. My day's all thrown off, like Joel yesterday. You had him crying. My day's all thrown off. I'm here on a Tuesday. I'm thinking it's Monday, so tomorrow I'm going to think it's Tuesday. You really put a wrench in things this week, Bill.
I know. I'm a trendsetter sometimes, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is a trail of tears all the way through Westchester County right up to where you are with Joel. But anyway, your thoughts on the fights this weekend, man? I mean, some of them, I don't know. I'll let you put them in the order you want. I mean, you've been listening to my opinions. Just honestly, I was very disappointed in Corrales. I mean, the Barrera and Smith fight, I mean, that doesn't shock me. Neither does the Burchell fight. But the Corrales fight, Although I knew that Robinson Castellanos was going to give him a tough fight, this guy is showing me that he's just kind of ordinary. He's nothing special. I mean, give me your thoughts on the fights.
Well, we've seen a lot take place this weekend. Some of the sports landscape changed. We've seen, evidence of how a couple fighters have been very mishandled, a little bit in between, and we've seen a very good career come to an end. So it was a very eventful weekend, starting with Smith Barrera. This was a bad matchup, Bill, from the start. I've said that. Joe Smith Jr., he's a great kid. He's strong. He's only 27. He has a lot of time to improve. With that being said, Star Boxing, as usual, they do their guys wrong. They did this with Chris Algieri. He got himself a couple good wins. Joe Smith Jr. had a few good wins with Andre Fonfara. He got the one over Hopkins, and now all of a sudden they're taking leaps and bounds that they shouldn't have. Sullivan Barrera, he's a boxer with a sturdy chin. He has a higher than average power. He has world caliber boxing skills developed from his amateur days in Cuba. What they should have done with Joe Smith Jr., instead of just placing him in that level, they should have had him fight guys like Thomas Williams Jr. or an Edwin Rodriguez to keep this momentum of his going and let him improve. You said something earlier that Joe Smith Jr. really hasn't improved his overall skill set, which I think he can because he's young. But inside that ring, after that knockdown, Joe Smith Jr. made a very bad mistake that his corner should have told him in the past not to. He started celebrating early. When he turned around and Sullivan Barrera was up off that canvas, Joe Smith Jr. really didn't seem like he knew what to do. Yes, the broken jaw a round or two later, fine, but you know what? Sullivan Barrera actually closed that round out strong. Joe Smith Jr., we've seen a lot of times with punchers, that adrenaline rush when he goes over and he threw his hands up on in the air and jumps on the ropes, all of a sudden, you get drained from that adrenaline rush because you get excited and it takes a lot to get back in there. And when you're in there against the guy of Sullivan Barrera's caliber, who's only lost to an Andre Ward, it's hard to get back in. Joe Smith's team, that's not the team for him to be with if Joe Smith is going to continue his career and, get back to the position that he was in before the loss. Because, again, I believe he does have a future. But, his guys, they should have known. If Jack Reese knows there's something wrong with him, his guys should have known there was something wrong. And Joe Smith Jr. was taking a lot of punishment. He was taking clean punches. It wasn't that he wasn't, being active. He was taking clean punches on those ropes. And that says, you know what? This is not what I want for my guy here at 27 years old. You don't sit in the corner and say, come on, knock this guy out. Do you want to keep digging ditches? I don't want to hear that. I want to hear something to the likes of, remember what we said in the gym, work on the jab, double the jab, stay off the ropes. When he's on you like that, hold. I want to hear something instead of just yelling out there, do you want to keep digging ditches? That is great when you're in a fight that's very even. It's a dog fight, and you're trying to just give your guy that little extra edge, to help him dig a little deeper, but not when your guy's taking a one-sided pounding like that. That's detrimental for a fighter, especially a young guy who's already had his jaw broke once. Who knows now what type of impact this second surgery is going to leave on Joe Smith Jr.'s career. When you get a plate or something like that put in there, you're never able to, your punch resistance drops.
I agree with you, Dax, and I think you made a great example. I complain about the rah-rah men in the corners. It's too much. They're too tough for their fighter. If they cared for their fighter, and if they truly believed that Joe Smith Jr. has a future and that they could, unleash these other skill sets that we're told that he has, then they stopped the fight. Why make he had no chance of winning the fight. He lost the zip on his punches, whether it was the broken jaw or whatever. He wasn't landing flush anymore, and you're 100% right. Barrera schooled him, gave him a boxing lesson, no question about it. There was no reason to have him continue, especially if he had a broken jaw. I think, I hate to say it, but I think that they're in cash-out mode for Joe Smith Jr. I really do. I mean, you're seeing him in these fights. They're making as much money as they can, and they're not thinking of him. That gives me reason to believe he's already reached his plateau. So I agree with you 100%.
I want to see the kid do better because he is that story that, for decades, going all the way back, last week, I think, who was the blast from the past was Cinderella Man, kind of like that story where, you get a guy who's the underdog, but, he's having this opportunity to do something with his life where he would never get in any other situation. And yeah, you know what? Joe Smith Jr. is, you know what they say, the common man. You know, he out there, he works hard, and, you know, this is an opportunity. Even if he never became, you know, this world champion, he would have himself some nice big paydays, some nice high-profile fights. And with the amount of titles that are out there, Joe Smith Jr., in my opinion, could definitely claim one. But, you know, when you're being handled like this, all that's going to do is just really, I'm just saying, you know, more or less cash him out. That's what happened with Chris Algieri. At least Chris Algieri has this background inside with training and nutrition and stuff like that. So, you know, all I know is I hope Joe Smith Jr. things work out for him. The jaw does get better, and we see him in another big fight, because there are some big fights out there for him. Shawnee Monahan against Marcus Brown. I believe that Joe Smith Jr., if he gets himself back in shape and that jaw heals well, Marcus Brown is a very beatable opponent for him. What his team should have done and what Lou DiBella should have done is stop being cheap. They should have stopped playing with both these guys' careers. As far as Shawnee Monahan, he's 35 years old. He had a late start inside the game. His skills were limited. Joe Smith Jr. versus Shawnee Monahan has been talked about for a couple years, and that really peaked after the Hopkins win for Joe Smith Jr. You know, those guys, if they would have did this right, they could have sold out the small room in Madison Square Garden. They could have packed the Barclays Center, and this would have been a career-high payday for both guys. And if you wanted to sit there and cash out, that would have been the fight to do it for both of them, no matter who won and no matter who lost, and they still would have maintained at least that hometown appeal. Right now, that fight, it can still happen, but the appeal and the drawing power is cut in half.
Well, the issue is a network interest. You know, you're right about that new venue and the fact that they were on, you know, Fox Sports. But if they were able to get to that next level and possibly sell a fight like that to an HBO or a Showtime, there's where they could have gotten some more money. But
with a solid undercard, I believe that would have sold. With a solid undercard, that would have sold. Well, or even if they got that put on another main event, it would have sold. And a lot of people would have came for Joe Smith versus Shawnee Monahan rather than the main event. You know, the promoters dropped the ball, both DiBella and Star Boxing. It's not the first time.
No, but also remember the Barrera Smith fight. That was DeGuardia and main events, you know. So I mean, you know, HBO has a relationship with main events, and I agree with you that Monahan and Joe Smith, maybe that is a showdown now. But the value, you're right, it's dropped a little. What about the on that card? What was your thoughts on that heavyweight fight? I know you and I talked about it the other day, but. I was surprised. I was surprised about a lot of things. I thought both fighters came in really good shape, but I was really surprised that Konowski won the fight. And Ronnie Shields has pretty much said it's over for Spitzka. He said he never saw anything fade like he did in that fight. You know, and he had said before the fight that no disrespect to Adam Konowski, but if he can't beat him, he shouldn't be fighting. What's your thoughts on that whole fight?
What was bizarre, and we spoke about that on the phone, was Arthur Spilka dropping his hands and letting Konowski have these free punches. Now, Konowski, he doesn't hit that hard, at least it doesn't appear anyway, but, you know, he has a lot of weight behind him, and, you know, he was able to land those flush punches. It doesn't matter if you hit hard or you don't. If you're a guy that's over 200 pounds and you're landing flush shots like that, it's going to do some damage to somebody, especially a guy who took a serious knockout loss against Deontay Wilder. Anybody that gets knocked out cold like that, we know, is never able to, you know, to regain that same punch resistance again. We've seen that even with the most elite fighters. So Arthur Spilka, in my opinion, what would be a good career move for him is go over to Poland, and him and Thomas Adamek would be a nice pay-per-view cash-out fight for both of them in the domestic battle. And Konecki, if Andy Ruiz Jr. should come back, I think that might be a good fight. They're both volume punchers. They're both better than they actually look, and it would be an exciting fight. And the winner from there actually, you know, moves on, and the loser, you know, pretty much, you know, just stays at that lower level. But, you know, in my opinion, that's the next move. If I was in charge of both those guys, what I would try and have happen.
Didn't Spitzka already fight Adamek in Poland?
I can't remember. He might have.
Yeah, I think because Adamek just won.
He knocked him out, I believe.
Adamek just won a fight, and you're going to see him, and you may very well see those two fight each other again. But I have made the bold prediction that Adam Konowski will be Deontay Wilder's next opponent. You saw Lou DiBella talking him up, saying how great he is. That's the kind of fighter that Deontay Wilder goes after, Dax. I mean, no disrespect to Konowski, but he's perfect for Wilder. He's slow. He leaves himself open. The height advantage and arm reach advantage helps Deontay, and I don't think he's got the pop. Yes, it looked like he had some pop with Spilka, but he delivers his punch. It's like he's pushing his punches, not landing his punches. I wonder if a good trainer could really help Konowski. I mean, the guy throws so many punches, and he's in better shape than he looks. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on that guy. What about you?
If he has a solid chin, the body doesn't always matter anymore. If he has a solid chin and he has the stamina, he can make some noise as long as he's able to, have a semi good defense. He has a solid chin. He can keep that volume up. He can make some noise. But he's an undersized heavyweight. In this era, heavyweights are huge. So, he's an undersized heavyweight. But, he could be a good contender. Andy Ruiz, is that type of guy. Andy Ruiz, in my opinion, that Joe Smith, the fight against Joseph Parker or someplace else, Andy Ruiz might be the WBO heavyweight champion right now. So you never know what can happen inside this sport.
The fight I wanted to talk to you about, and I know that Robert Dos Guerrero retired after the fight, but it was almost sad to see the beat down that he took from Omar Figueroa. He did start off strong, and I've always liked the Ghost. He still is a class act in and out of the ring. But I'm glad he retired, and I hope he stays retired because I don't want to see that. I think he deserves better. And I'm no disrespect to Figueroa because I think he's a good fighter, but I don't know. I think that Robert Dos Guerrero he climbed the ladder. He fought the real fights. He moved up in weight. I mean, this was a guy that paid his dues and was very successful. I don't think he's got much else to prove.
No, I mean, he retired 33-5-1. He had titles in 4 divisions. Is he the most skilled boxer? No, but always came in shape, always gave it his all. He did much. He made his biggest accomplishments while being there, both emotionally and financially, for his wife Casey when she was battling leukemia. I interviewed Robert quite a few times prior to world title fights, and I have to say, when I spoke to him, he's one of the few guys who never had an attitude, never had anything bad to say about an opponent, and as you stated, always went in there and gave it his all. You have to respect a guy like that, and he definitely deserves to have a retirement. He's earned that. Social media, the outpouring from not only other opponents, but promoters from all over the world. Everybody has been, saying the same thing at you. Hopefully he stays retired. He's earned it, and everybody's appreciated what he's done inside the ring. And, yeah, what? Now's the time to go because if he keeps going on any longer, his last few fights have shown that he's fading quite drastically, and if you're able to take shots from guys like Keith Thurman or Kamagagi, who are big punchers, and then an Omar Figueroa would just blast you out in 3 rounds like that tells you the punch resistance is gone. So why continue taking that abuse? And hopefully the money he saved it, he's invested well, and now it would be good to see him maybe in an announcer role or a training position role. I'd hate to see him walk away completely from the sport, but you know what, as far as his time inside the ring, I'm glad he's decided wisely to hang him up.
Yeah, and you know what, to tell you the truth, I mean, the battles and a lot of time, I had a lengthy conversation with him one time off air, and, he was, even on air, he was saying that, what he goes through in the ring and training was nothing what he witnessed his wife go through during her cancer treatment. And, he said he tried to use that as strength to help him and et cetera, and you figure, they reached a plateau. They have money. They weren't stupid with their money. Maybe it's time to just thank the guy upstairs and he is a religious guy. Thank him and live it because his family is young, Dax. I mean, you know about family and I don't know. I think the smartest thing, and from what I see, is a lot of these guys that hang them up and stay retired, that walk away from the sport. That's the best thing. I don't know how great of an announcer he would be. He's not a talkative guy, so I think he rides off. If I'm him, I ride off into the sunset, enjoy the rest of my life with my kids and my wife, and that's that. That's what I do if I'm. He's still a young guy. He's got a whole life in front of him, So no, I hope he just walks away from the sport. Maybe get into training. Maybe work with his pops a little bit, calm his pops down. I don't know.
So there's something, maybe not an announcer. You're right. He's really not an overly talkative guy. But, we need we need as many good guys in the sport as we can. And Robert Guerrero is a genuine good guy. And, yes, he said that same thing to me in a few interviews about Casey, compared to what he has witnessed her go through, and what he goes through inside the ring is nothing. And again, that's proof where sometimes even if you're not the most skilled person, when you're fighting for something else besides yourself, like family, it can will you to do amazing things, and it did with Robert Guerrero. So, hats off to the guy, and that's again one of those things where that's what boxing's about: created opportunities for where there would be none in no other available in no other possible way. And Robert Guerrero had that, so it's a good story. That's one of the things we like to see more of inside the sport, rather than ducking and jiving. Because Robert Guerrero fought anybody at any point in time.
I got two more questions for you, Dax. One, they made it official. WBO champ in the middleweight division, Billy Joe Saunders, who we all think is kind of a joke, will be fighting Willie Monroe on September 16th. Kind of curious that they chose that date, but nonetheless, Willie Monroe Jr., I think, is going to give Billy Joe Saunders some trouble. What's your thoughts on the fight and the date?
Why they did that date, I don't know. But again, you know what? That's overseas, and they have proven over there they are able to outsell the cards in the United States. So that might be something strategical. That might be a little something where they're just kind of rubbing it in the faces of American promoters. Don't be surprised if that I won't say outsells Triple G and Canelo, but it does fairly well. Willie Monroe Jr., he's been talking a lot. I hate when guys talk a lot. Willie Monroe Jr. talked a lot before the Triple G fight. Recently, he's been saying how Billy Joe Saunders is going to be easy work. I hope Willie Monroe doesn't get his head a little bit too full of himself, thinking that he's going to totally outbox Billy Joe Saunders, who can box. And plus, we know Billy Joe Saunders also gets the benefit of decisions over there. So it's an uphill battle for Willie Monroe Jr., but definitely a winnable fight. The other fights this weekend on that card in California, there was kind of a theme to that card. It was almost like a bull versus matador type theme, because we've seen that inside the Burchell and Miura fight, where Miguel Burchell was the boxer, Miura was just the bull coming forward. That fight didn't quite live up to expectations, but in my opinion, what I got from there is that Miguel Burchell matches up well with anybody in the super featherweight division, including a Vasyl Lomachenko. He showed to be definitely, in my opinion, maybe the second best fighter in that division. I'd like to see more of him. That title has kind of circulated and been fought between the same few guys over the last few years, much like that super flyweight title has between Rongrase, Cuadras, and Gonzalez. I think, again, he matches up very well. I would definitely, while waiting for a Lomachenko fight possibly, I would like to see him fight Jezreel Corrales, who fought Robinson Castellanos this weekend. And there's a guy, that you have to root for. How can you not like Robinson Castellanos? This is a guy at the tail end of his career that, he believes in himself. He was out there and he was working hard and he was trying, and he put on a very good show. Unfortunately, those headbutts, I think that's what did him in, because if those butts weren't like that, I think Castellanos might have, pulled that off with another 2 rounds. What's your opinion on that?
I didn't like the stoppage. I agreed with Sal on that, and I thought it was a draw, and I thought, like we talked off air, Castellanos, any close round, wasn't getting him. They weren't giving him that, he had to dominate to win a round on the judges' scorecard. And they look at his record. I hate it. I love the Castellanos story. I love fighters that have earned everything they got. And listen, this guy, I became an instant fan when he beat my guy, Yuriorkis Gamboa. Come on, so no, I agree with you. I think they should have let that fight go. I think after the cut under Corrales, because remember, Castellanos had the cut early in the fight, and I loved the look on his face. No matter what Corrales did to him, he would kind of, and I noticed he had like a his mouthpiece was painted a little bit too, so it made his grin look even more sinister during that fight, didn't it? You know, I'm like, you know, look, every time I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, this guy, you know, he just got hit with a fight, and he just got hit with a solid shot, and he's looking like he's grinning, like, you know, please hit me again. You know, it's like, you know, what do you do against a guy like that? But I'm with you, man. I love him, and I wish they let it go.
The Ivan Baranchyk, you know, I can't, you know, we talk about unfairness, you know, the card on Friday night, you know, Ivan Baranchyk with Keenan Smith I can't name a fight in recent memory that, you know, where a guy was so undeserving of a win than Ivan Baranchyk was in that fight against Keenan Smith. Ivan Baranchyk, I'm sorry, he's regressed as a fighter, and we talk about guys who start believing in their power too much. He just swings wide for the fences. He actually knocked himself over twice. He looked like an amateur and a novice amateur inside that bout, but, you know, unfortunately, I bet you he gets another date on Showbox. And, you know, same thing with Adam Lopez, who fought Glenn DeZern. Adam Lopez was very much like Robinson Castellanos, where he was just coming forward, and, you know, he was working hard, but, you know, they gave him a split draw against Glenn DeZern. You know, so, you know, these guys that really worked hard and did the right thing this weekend didn't get, you know, the full credit that they should have, and yet, you know, the ones that the favorites like the Ivan Baranchyk or the Jezreel Corrales, because of reasons like you stated, you know what, they're the ones that, you know, were more or less, no matter how good they do, they were just always going to be the B-side no matter what. You know, are there contracts that actually say, you know something, you're not going to get to win, just look good?
I think sometimes that's what they do. But, Dax, I appreciate you coming on, my man, and we'll look forward to you later in the week.
Absolutely. And, you know, tonight, don't forget tonight, pay-per-view is what that Charles Martin fight should be.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
As everybody's going, Charles Martin's fighting when?
Yeah, well, exactly. Charles Martin's, he's not even the main event. And the saddest part about it is Mike Marone. I know Mike doesn't like to train, so I don't know. Hey,
the only thing I remember Mike Marone is in the corner with Lou Duva, following Lou around and being Lou Duva's boy. Other than that, you know, Mike Marone, he's another one of those, Mike Marone's fighting when?
Yeah, exactly. Dax, we'll hook up with you later in the week, brother.
All right, everybody, enjoy your day. And it is Tuesday, not Monday. Bill, keep reminding people, please. Thanks for ruining everybody's week.
I know. I know. It is my fault. Thanks, Dax. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah, Dax is right. I, had an unexpected situation yesterday, and we didn't do a show, so we're kind of doing Monday stuff today. So, and it's Tuesday. Hey, listen, for all the affiliates and television networks, I am not taking a break here because I just want to wrap some stuff up real quick. First and foremost, like Dax just mentioned, a former heavyweight champ, Charles Martin, will be fighting tonight on Tuesday Night Fights on the Fox television broadcast. The main event is Miguel Flores going up against Chris Avelos, which shouldn't be a bad fight. And also, Edwin La Bamba Rodriguez is taking on Melvin Russell. La Bamba hasn't been in the ring for a little bit. Quite honestly, I thought his career was over. So we'll see what happens there. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Do you think that Triple G Canelo will live up to the hype? That was my topic today. We talked a little bit about it. Will it live up to the hype, and was it worth the wait, or will it be worth the wait? Drop me an email. I'd like to continue that on tomorrow's show. Drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. I also want to mention one of my favorite fighters, Johnny Gonzalez. What a guy. He's a veteran of veterans. 63 wins and 10 losses with 53 knockouts. Is taking on an undefeated Filipino fighter in Jesse Rosales this weekend for some belt. Rosales is 21-0 with a draw and 9 knockouts. So we'll see how he makes out. And also on tomorrow's show, we got our Blast from the Past, which features one of my all-time favorite fighters, Boom Boom Mancini. Used to love watching Boom Boom Mancini fight. A lot of people didn't think he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. I personally thought he did, but maybe I was being a little biased. And also tomorrow I want to talk about, how much boxing has changed. not only the style, because the style has clearly changed, but, the amount of boxing. And we're always saying, boxing needs to get back to where it was and everything. It's never going to get back to where it was. Not when we have safety-first fighters, and no disrespect to them. I understand the reasons why. But as long as the fan base keeps paying for one-sided fights, keep putting value on fighters that have O's when they don't really challenge themselves, and look at fighters with losses as not being good, until fight fans can understand a loss and how a loss sometimes is good and other times it's bad. I know it doesn't sound right, but it's true. I mean, if you go through the history of this sport and talk to the most accomplished fighters, 9 times out of 10, they will tell you that they learned so much from a loss or two that they had on their record that made them into great fighters, even all-time great fighters. So sometimes a loss is good. It can, the fighters that can turn that loss into a positive make out. A fighter that's never tasted defeat, well, you could always say that's a guy with a lot of will. That's a guy with a lot of heart and determination if he's fighting the top-level guys. If he's fighting lower-level guys, he's never tasted defeat. Well, I would be curious to see how that fighter is in the heat of battle when he's rocked and hurt or cut. How do they come out of it? Manny Pacquiao, one of the best fighters of today, or definitely a couple of years ago, that is a fighter clearly, I mean, no doubt about it. When the guy sees his own blood, he changes. He's not the same fighter. He does not like to see his own blood. And that's Manny Pacquiao. So a lot of stuff we're going to be doing on tomorrow's show. And of course, Larry Hazard will be with us. But on this day in boxing history, July 18th in 1951, Jersey Joe Walcott knocks out Ezra Charles in the 7th round to win the world heavyweight title, and that took place in Pittsburgh. On this day in 1981, Michael Spinks wins a 15-round decision over Eddie Mustafa Muhammad to win the WBA World Light Heavyweight title, and that took place in Las Vegas. On this day in 1992, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker wins a 12-round decision over Rafael Pinata to win the IBF World Junior Welterweight title. It took place in Las Vegas. And, I just want to mention something right now. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, right? One of the best fighters, really. He's an all-time great. But he's virtually, a lot of young fans don't even talk about him. And the reason is his style of fighting was kind of safety first. Defensive fighter. When he was forced into engaging, he would and performed well. As a result, some of his fights were less than entertaining. There were a couple that were entertaining, but most of his fights were less than entertaining, especially, during the heyday. And, that's my point about the safety-first style. It'll be forgotten. Unfortunately for the fighters, the guys that engage, the guys that go toe-to-toe, they're the fighters that live on forever in people's minds because of the E word, excitement. And I'm not suggesting Sweet Pea wasn't exciting, because sometimes he was. But for the most part, a guy like Sweet Pea Whitaker should be on everybody's lips when they're talking about all-time great fighters, and he's not. And the reason is because of his style. And mark my words, the same thing will happen with Floyd Mayweather. His style, people may remember him because of the money and, the undefeated record, etc. But they're never going to remember specific fights because none of them were exciting. I had to use that as an example because Sweet Pea Whitaker, in my opinion, was way more talented than Floyd Mayweather. Unfortunately, fought in different eras. On this day, July 18th in 1987, the body snatcher, Mike McCallum, knocks out Donald Curry in the 5th round to retain his WBA World Junior Middleweight title. Took place in Las Vegas. And finally, on this day, July 18th, one of my favorite all-time fighters in 1960, Sonny Liston knocks out Zora Foley in the 3rd round of their heavyweight fight that took place in Denver, Colorado. Liston would become the world heavyweight champion and a Boxing Hall of Famer with a career record of 50 wins, 39 by knockout, and 4 losses. 2 of his most famous losses came at the hands of Muhammad Ali. Hey, listen, make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.